Hello, Blue Fleet. What is this? What is this before us? What is this? I tell you what this is, right? I'll tell you what this is. This is Microsoft PowerPoint. That's not even a joke. I was wondering, like, how do I do this stream? How do I do a stream where I'm just like yapping about all of the shows I'm watching this anime season? And the only reason I've done it as a stream is there's a lot. Like, the title says 30 plus shows. I counted, and if I was to check, I make it 31 seasonals this anime season, and then I've got a couple of overruns as well. When I say overruns, they're ones that are either 2 core series or they're ones that didn't finish last season but are from last season. They're not 2 core, so like, you know, delayed or whatever. So, you know, the ones that are overrunning, say, Tying the Knot with Amagami Sister, Blue Box. I think that I saw that ReZero is due to be back shortly, because it ended in a really weird place. It had like an 8-episode run. It didn't really go anywhere, which was like, oh, okay, fair enough. I think I still need to catch up with the last episode of Danmachi as well. But yeah, I have 31 seasonal animes, I believe it is, this season. There's so many of them. Just to kind of prefix, and I know I've mentioned this over on YouTube, right? But the, oh, I'll tell you what I haven't done. I haven't put Discord on yet. Hold on. Let's put Discord on, then people, like, on there can see that I'm live. Right, okay, there we go. All of the thumbnail arts used are copyright to their respective owners, obviously. But I've also just used, so far as I can tell, the key artworks from the shows in question. And I have also, in the slides, added the Japanese names. Just, I know some of you guys are absolute weebs and you prefer to have just the Japanese name, so you'll get both. And you'll get the English name unless it's already displayed on the key art. I mean, you've got some where there isn't actually really a logo displayed at all. Like, you've got Okitsura up here. There's not a single logo to be seen. But, you know, ones like that, you'll get the full title. I will mash the pronunciation, no doubt. Before we start, I did make a coffee earlier, and I'm just going to, like, snuff this down a little bitty. Yeah, because it's an earlier stream. I wanted to make sure we had plenty of time to go through this one, because there's that much that I'm watching that it's like, do we really want to, like, go for the 6 o'clock slot and try and rush it? Or, excuse me, I think something's run through me there. Or do we want to go for a 5 o'clock slot, take our time, maybe finish early? I don't know, we might well finish early. I think we're just going to see how we go on this one, but yeah. Let's jump on in with the first show, shall we? So the first show, alphabetical order, by the way. The ordering of this is alphabetical by the English title. So some of the titles might seem a bit out of place by Japanese, but it's because I've ordered them alphabetically by the English name, okay? So just so we're clear. So the first one is... No, that's not changed. Hold on. That's why it's not changed. I thought I clicked on it, but I didn't. I'm stupid. Oh boy. Start as we mean to go on, huh? Yeah, the first show on my list of seasonals is the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. Also titled Kimi no Koto ga Dai 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 Daisuki na Hyakanin no Kanajo. I mean, just by the title alone, you can probably understand that this one is just ridiculous. So to give you a bit of a synopsis, there's a guy, Rentaro, who is absolutely luckless in love, and he prays, you know, I'd like to have some, I'd like to have some luck. I'd like to get lucky once in a while. You know, I want Daft Punk to come and play my wedding. And God looks down on him, and God's like, boy, you gonna be drowning in pussy soon. You're gonna be absolutely drowning in it. But there's a catch. There's a catch. If any of them don't receive his love back, I believe the twist was like they would die. It's fucking stupid, but like it's fun, you know. This is the sort of show that I'd lap up like you know, a dog laps up its own vomit, because it's stupid. It's absolutely idiotic, but it knows it and it has fun with it. And that's what makes it enjoyable, you know. It's got a lot of personality. It's got a lot of weirdness as well. Like, they had an episode where the girls, they changed bodies with each other, and, you know, it almost veered into... I mean, it's self-parodying already, but, like, we went into full-blown absurdism, right? Full-on absurdist weirdness. And I'll be honest, I thought that was just great. So we're a few episodes in. It's the second season. So if you've seen the first season, I mean, you're going to know what to expect at this point. You know, a lot of the stuff I'm watching is second season. And I will normally watch a season 2 of something I've seen the season 1 of, unless the season 1 pissed me off so much that I'm just like, no, I'm not doing this. No. And there's only a few shows that have done that. So, like, Tower of God really annoyed me at the end of season 1, so I just refused to pick up the second season. If you wonder, as we go through this, that's also why solo leveling does not appear. Hey there, Freeman. How are you doing? It's not too tryhard and very self-aware of its strong points and weaknesses. Exactly. It's just like, it's just silly. It's silly, it knows it's silly, and it's like, you know what? Pass the joint. You know, we go and get litty in here. We're going to get high. We're going to enjoy ourselves while we do it. And then instead of doing a joint, it just kind of like smashes 10 lines of cocaine instead. You mean to go on, I guess, with these, eh? Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's dumb, it's fun, and like, I wouldn't rate it very highly on an objective scale, but like in terms of enjoyment, it's like, yeah, it's a filler for me. It fills a slot in my available rotation, but at the same time, you know, I don't continue with shows that fill my rotation if I don't actually like them. You know, I never watch something I don't enjoy, ever. If I stop enjoying something, it's like, no, goodbye. Off you go. Tutu. Goodbye. Farewell. The next show on my list. This one is probably this one is probably so far my pick for show of the season, and that would be Amiku MD, Doctor Detective, or Amiku Takao no Suiri Kurute. I'm not sure if that would be Kate. My Japanese pronunciation is horrific, so, you know, please forgive me. You haven't watched a lot of anime this season and past month, unless it's legal release on YouTube. That's fair. I have a particular place that I watch from, and I'm not going to say anything more on that just in case I get anyone in trouble. But, you know, let's just say Robbie Rotten would be like, you know, you are no longer with Sporticus anymore. No, you're on board. You're on board with me. Yo-ho, fiddle-dee-dee. This show is really fun. So imagine if Ace Attorney took place in a hospital, and then the main character was Dr. House as a cute anime girl. That's it. That's the plot. You know, it's very, very similar to Ace Attorney in terms of how it's constructed with stories. So the whole premise is the main character here is very good at diagnosis, to the point of, like, that's why the Dr. House comparison comes in. And that skill at diagnosis gets used to work out some really wacky stuff. Like in the first 2 episodes, there's a guy brought into the hospital, and he's got blue blood, and then it's like, oh, and I was watching this, and I've had no exposure to this franchise before. I know that it's a light novel series. What then happened is, I'm just like, guy's got blue blood, okay, is this going to be some sort of supernatural thing? Because there's some other comparatives I would make to Inspector. I can't think what the Japanese title for that is off the top of my head, but I think it's the same animation studio as well that did that. So I'm like, okay, we can have some supernatural stuff going on here. And then, no, it turned out, actually, it was medical bullshit being used to obfuscate someone who was a mob doctor trying to cover up the fact that a member of the Yakuza had come to his clinic and died. And then he tried to cover that up by using a dinosaur skull to bite the guy's leg off. And then, because of what happened to him, his blood had already turned blue. So it's just like, okay, it was very much like an Ace Attorney case to get there. You absolutely should give this a try. So far, this is the only show where I will, if this goes onto the place where I watch, I will drop what else I'm doing at that moment in time if I can to watch this. It's the only show that I will drop what I'm doing to watch it. The only thing that would get in the way of me doing that is either streaming or band practice. If I'm doing one of those two things, I can't get to it. If I'm doing anything else, I'm just bing chilling in my lounge with wife, and this updates. Right, okay, I'm watching something now. And, yeah, this... I would also hesitate to say that, like, if they release a figurine of Takao, then I will just snap that up just like that, instantly. It's very, very good. If you like mysteries as well, and not necessarily just mysteries, just like there's a lot of actual doctor stuff going. The author of the light novel is a practicing doctor. I don't know what his specialization is, but like he knows his shit and it shows. So you've got that expertise going in there as well, and that really sells it for me. That really sells it for me. It absolutely elevates it to a higher level, shall we say. I don't think I've really got very much else to say on that, to be honest. Go watch it. Go add it to your list immediately. 11 out of 10. Chef kiss. Mwah. Delicious. Delicious. I mean, it probably helps as well that the characters are like, despite being obviously very professional and very proficient at what they do, they're fucking well cute. Look at them. They are incredibly cute. There was also something else that came up from this. Actually, no, let's stay on this one for a moment longer. There was something kind of funny that came up in the mod chat. So I'm staff on the whole IVN fan server, right? And that means that there are certain places that I am in where other moderators live. And there's been a lot of entertaining stuff coming up in our various discords about this show. So let me just pull up I'm going to pull up a couple of the memes real quick for you. If I go, so I need to go, that needs to have a image. Yes. Okay. Right. Okay. I'll get you the first one. And then I'm going to find the other one whilst we go through this. So here's the first one, right? Let's see if this works. Yippee! Dr. Gregory House reincarnated as a cute Japanese girl. That is basically the plot of this show, right? That is the plot of this show. I mean, yeah, you know, I can get behind that. It makes me want to watch House. I've never watched House before. I'm just aware of it I've absorbed the memes through osmosis. And I mean, that's certainly like, you know, something I need to rectify. Especially because I learned that Dr. House has a Game Boy Advance and he plays Metroid on it. So actually, is he kind of based? Yeah, I think he might be. Where was the other one? The other one might be in... let me just load up my Facebook messages a second. I think I posted it there. I'm just going to try and find it, so bear with me just a moment. So I need to do what? I need to open this elsewhere. Okay. Let me try and find this, huh? Okay. I should have found this ahead of like going live. I'm kind of dumb. Let me see. I don't think I'm going to find it, if I'm honest. Let me just scroll back, because the thing is, I sent it to my mate the other week, and it's like, did I actually, like, not save a copy onto my hard drive? I don't think I did. And I'm looking at my hard drive, and no, it's not there. Ain't there. Unfortunate. No, there's a lot of shit about like, hey, look at the figurines that I've bought. And it's like, yeah, I've bought too many figurines, haven't I? Oh wow. Yeah, we're going for a right scroll here. There's me like, we're not going to spend too much more time on this one, but it's like, we might do. Just while I try and find this entertaining, very niche meme. I got sent it by one of the mods in the, shall we say the back rooms. House is nice. Characters are very personalized. Each episode has a gimmick, keeps us guessing. And it expands on House's personal life and struggle. I might have a word with... here we go. I found it. Yeah, I might have a look at that and like suggest that me and wife watch it. So now this was sent to me by someone who has ASD. I will just preface with that, right? And they sent this to me because they're like, you have to be one of us, Shinsu. You have to be. And I'm like, I don't think I am. I'm not confirmed anyway. And they sent this to me, which was... Oh, it didn't... No! It didn't work. Oh, no. Disaster has struck. It's just not there, is it? Oh, wait. Okay, I can do this instead. Is paint coming in clutch? Yes! Diagnosis! You were autistic. And they just sent this to me. It's just... Okay. You think so? And like, yeah, we do think so. I'm actually considering going to the doctor and asking them to sort me the test out, because like there's enough signs there. It's like, I think there's a strong enough possibility my mate is right. I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing, by the way. I just want an answer, because it's like, if yes, it would answer a lot about why I am the way I am. And it'd just be nice to know, you know? Anyway, we're going to move on. So, the next one on my list is Anyway, I'm Falling in Love with You, or Dose Koishite Shimanda. This one is, I mean, I'll be honest, this is definitely shoujo romance. Definitely aimed at girls, but like, I don't really care. I just watch whatever I think looks neat. So the general premise is there is a girl who's had a shitty birthday, and then this chap here steps in, and he's like, let's make it good. And then there's a lot. He's quite protective of her. There's a lot of. It's not a rom-com. It's like more of a romantic drama. So yeah, here we go. That's the synopsis. So he's a childhood friend. He's actually always he's always kind of fancy her, and he asks her out. So in that sense, it looks as though there's other people who are then interested in her. Who, I mean, he's quite protective of her as well. So it's cool. You know, it's a nice show. It's something where it's relaxed. I mean, it's a filler. Teen drama, slice of life, kind of. There's elements of coming of age, and there's elements of, like, generic romance, I suppose. Sorry, one of my stream monitors just fucked it. Give me a second. I'm just going to try and sort this out. My technology always cacks it at the worst possible moment. I don't know why it does this. I need to upgrade my gear at some point. Alright, is that fixed? I think we're good. Okay. Yeah, I think we're alright now. Right, okay. But yeah, I mean, this one is like very mellow, very chill. There's some dramatic overtones with it, but mostly it feels like it's going to be kind of like people growing up and learning about like feelings and how to deal with them. And I mean, I'm a sucker for a good romance. I asked my wife the other day, just as a joke, haha, I bet you can't guess what my favourite genre of anime is. And she looked at me dead in the eye and said, romance. And she was shitposting, but I was like, you're right. Huh? And she's just like, she just blinks and she's like, oh, I didn't actually mean it. And I was like, well, no, you're right, it is. Which was quite funny. But yeah, it was, it's one of those ones that I just kind of picked up on a whim, because the way that I select what shows I'm going to watch on a season is I just kind of look at the key art, and it's like, if I think the key art looks good, then, yeah, it was absolutely a haha got him. She absolutely got me. She really did, like, dunk me there. But I pick stuff based on the key, like the key art that comes up, and that means that the shows that I watch tend to. I don't pick based on genre. I don't pick based on normally what I've heard about a show. Although there are some where like if I didn't like, say, a first season, I won't carry on with the second one. But this one I just thought, the key art looks nice. Let's check it out. And I didn't. I went, okay, yeah, this is pretty neat. Let me just pop back. I'm using my anime list to go through the other stuff that's on the list here as well. So the next one on the list, I think people are going to know anyway. I don't think we need to say very much about it. We will, but I don't think we do. So the next one is the Apothecary Diaries Season 2. Kusuria no Hitorigoto. So, if you've seen the first season of this, then you'll know. Really, really nice animation. Lots of court intrigue going on. I like historical dramas where there is intrigue and, like espionage and factionisms, that sort of thing. And then also, obviously Mao Mao is, like very skilled at her craft and is able to apply that in very odd ways. Poor Jinchi has been dealing with a lot of jokes involving fruit being missing this season. Like, does Sis not know that he's had his bits chopped off? No, she definitely doesn't. That's why she's making those jokes, because she's a cheeky little shit. No, I think that this is, as continuations go, it's more of the same. But when the same is this good, it's like, okay, yeah. You haven't watched, but you've heard good stuff from the community. I can vouch for the good stuff you've heard. It's really nice. It's one of those shows where I picked it up based on the key art of the first season. I had also heard that it was good, but I don't... honestly, word of mouth is very hard to persuade me with. I almost entirely go on a show's key art. Like, the only time that I tend to listen to word of mouth is if someone I know and trust the opinion of says, dude, you should watch this show for this reason. I'm like, alright, I'll check it out. Generally, I just go on the key art, and that helps me to kind of keep things not impartial as such, but it helps me to kind of maintain my own process, which, my own process for deciding what media I want to consume is quite important to me, because I don't like being dictated what I should or shouldn't be watching. I make my own assessment, I make a decision based on that, and if I enjoy it, carry on. If I don't, ditch it off. The only problem that this show has is that the first season's first core had such a banger opening that, the opening for season 2 is good, don't get me wrong. It's good. But it's definitely not close to the first opening. The second opening that they had was not as good either. I think it's a problem season 1 had as well, because I think, if I remember right, season 1 was something like 24 episodes. It was pretty long. I would recommend this. Do you like court? Do you like not courtroom as in legal courtroom, but do you like court drama as in like the courts of kings from ye olden days? Do you like Imperial China? Do you like cute anime girls and guys who've had their willies chopped off? You'll like this. Watch it. I wish that was a joke, but no, Jinchi is a eunuch. He has had his bits taken off. That's why he looks so unimpressed there. He's just like, she's thinking of a joke to do with peanuts and lack of peanuts. And then she's like, haha, this lamp represents a ball and dong. He doesn't have these things. Tee-hee. No, but I do recommend it. It's very, very, very worth your time. Oh, I just skipped ahead a few things there. Hang on, let's go back there. I need to remember that if I use the scroll wheel, it goes through my slides. Okay. So next on the list, then. Oh, no. This is the one where people judge me. Okay. The next show on my list is Bayoneko, the elf girl's cat is secretly an S-rank monster. I'm going to try and pronounce all of this shit. So, S-rank monster no behimasu dakedo, neko to machigawarate, erufu musume no kishipeto to shite kurashitemasu. So, the title is exactly what it sounds like. a knight dies, he reincarnates as a behemoth, which is an S-rank monster, and then he realizes, I'm going to have to hide this, so he disguises himself as a cat, and then he gets adopted by an elf girl. Now, the reason people are going to judge me on this one is, I would say this is borderline hentai. Like, I mean, it has an uncensored version where there's, like, full-on boobies and stuff, and I think that's just great. But it is also a little bit perverted, I've got to admit. You know, I really hope my wife's not coming upstairs for a piss right now, because if she hears me saying shit like this, or if she's tuned in to watch me, then I am not going to be getting any sex for a good month. I may have done myself there, chat. Oh dear. No, but it's definitely aimed at the same sort of audience as stuff like... do you remember... Ishizoku reviewers, interspecies reviewers? It's very much aimed at that sort of a crowd, except it's not quite as overtly perverted. You know, it's still pretty perverted, but you only read the manga, that's enough for you. You know what, that's fine. You know, I completely appreciate when people don't want to watch a show because they've read the light novel or they've read the manga. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I consume most of my media through the animes, and then if I like the anime, I will go on to read the light novel. I mean, the only light novel that's not been really the case with are the ones where they're not in anime form just yet, but I think they look neat. So stuff like Torture Princess. I really quite enjoy the Torture Princess light novels. I've picked up the first issue of Dragon and Ceremony. I actually read the light novels of Killing Slime for 300 Years way before the anime released. The anime of Killing Slime for 300 Years was a dream come true. I'm begging for a season 2 of that. I cannot wait for the second season of that. I mean, I'm actually very surprised as well as to how they're getting a second season out of Reincarnation as a vending machine, because when the anime ended, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, and please do correct me if I am wrong, because I would love to be, the only light novels that are available are issues 1 through 3, and issue 3 ends, if my memory serves correctly, at the end of the place where the third light novel ends. So the anime finishes at the end of the third light novel. But there's nothing else after that that has been released in English. So it's like, how are they getting a season 2 out of this? They just got the author's permission to just run with it. Vending Machine was my first insane light novel. Like, I remember I used to work around the corner from a big comic book shop, and on lunches on payday, I'd pop over and it's like, what have they got in? I remember seeing it and I was just like, you know what, this sounds so insane, I have to read this. And the guy at the counter was just like, that looks mental. And I'm just like, yeah, that's why I'm buying it, mate. It looks fucking stupid, you know, but that's what makes it fun. You know, shit isekai is one of my favourite genres. And when I say shit isekai, from an objective standpoint, a lot of this stuff is just garbage. You know, it's just garbage. It's silly. Sorry, give me a second. Sorry, I thought I heard something. Give me a moment, chat. Hold on. Oh, stormy. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. There's a storm that's hitting the UK at the minute, and I think I just heard like a bit of wind or something. But yeah, like shit isekai is one of my favourite genres because it's much like with the first show that we looked at with, you know, the 100 Girlfriends. It generally is very self-aware. It knows that it's a bit dumb, and it just runs with it and has fun. Gotta look out for the RTA manga. It's about a person who isekais needs a speedrunner. Oh boy. Although, not to get too political, but doesn't that mean he's a radical leftist? I've been thinking about why so many in the radical left participate in speed running. The reason is the left's lack of work ethic. Go fast rather than do it right. And, in a Petersonian sense, to elevate new sexual archetypes in the marketplace. Fastest hedgehog. Shadow, what the fuck are you talking about? You're a beta male, Sonic! If you've never seen that guy's Twitter, it was fucking mad. It was so dumb. Like, he said this shit with full belief in his words. Mental. I don't understand, like, how he thought that would ever fly. You don't use Twitter? So if you go on to Know Your Meme and look up... let me just have a quick look on Google. I'll just see where the result comes up best from. Hold on. Just typing, as you can hear. Right, so if you go to Know Your Meme and search why so many in the radical left participate in speedrunning, you get the full thread. And it's worth a read just because it's pretty funny. Like, it's dumb. But it does kind of become fun for that fact. And the fact it got turned into a Sonic the Hedgehog shitpost as well. Beautiful. You love to see it. Okay, moving away from the boobies. And we're going to some insane fantasy stuff next with Bogus Skill Fruit Master. Hazore Sukiru Kinomi Master. Sukiru no mi tabetara shinu. Omugen ni taberaru yo ni nata ken ni tsuite. And as... Holy fucking shit. My annotations. Know Your Memes is OG, yeah. I remember a time when Encyclopedia Dramatica was your main source of knowledge on memes. Back in the days when memes were just, like, needlessly offensive for no good reason. I mean, I've been on the internet for a long time. I remember when we had 3 memes. We had Tub Girl, we had Goatsy, we had Harlequin Feet. I'm halfway into the casting the spell. Oh my god, yeah. Despite the fact that the name is really stupid, and I will give you the translation of this. So, Bogus Skill Fruit Master, the time that I ate more than one skill fruit that kills you. I don't remember exactly what the rest of it is, but that's pretty much the plot of this. Is your main character is living in a world where there are skill fruits and they decide what your job is. So his Bezzy mate here, she gets the job of Sword Saint, and she goes off to become an adventurer. And they were hoping to go and become adventuring best friends together, and then he gets, I'm a fruit master now, so I've got to go farm. Okay. And she ends up joining a party that she's really unhappy with because the leader is like an absolute twat. Skill fruit, yeah, kind of like the One Piece skill fruits. And then I'm not familiar enough with One Piece to know exactly how it works beyond, like, you can't swim if you eat them. But in this one, if someone eats more than one skill fruit, they die. It poisons them and it kills them. But because his skill is Fruit Master, that nullifies the poison, so he can eat multiple skill fruits and basically gain as many skills as he wants. So he ends up getting a job which was... he gains, like, a sword mastery skill. And then that means that him and his Bezzy mate can now go off on adventures together. So she leaves the party. Due to some religious fuckery, she now is only able to go on, like, very low level quests. But she doesn't really care. She's just happy she can adventure with her childhood best friend. Actual fruit salad enjoy. I know. I don't know what bro's thinking. Like, who enjoys fruit salad? That's insane. The main thing for me about this one is... it looks nice, and the premise, despite being silly, is fun. You know, it's a neat show. It might be kind of garbage in terms of, you know, being another RPG-based fantasy with an overlong title and a gimmick, but you know what? That's fine. I'm down with that. So far, the plot seems to revolve around the Catholics are evil, which is, I think, pretty par for the course with a lot of this sort of stuff. And there's another one later in the list which kind of really goes ham on that point. But I quite enjoy this one. I look forward to this one when it comes out. It's like, I don't drop what I'm doing to watch it, but if there's multiple shows that update at the same time, this is quite high on the priority list. And let me tell you, I have days where 8 shows update at once. Like, my wife's seen me stressing at the computer, and she's like, why are you so stressed out? And I'm like, I've got 8 shows to catch up on, and I don't know when I'm going to watch them. And she's just like, you're just dumb. You're watching so much shit. And I'm just like, What do you mean I'm watching so much shit? You watch, you know, stuff like, you watch stuff like Masked Singer. You can't talk about what I watch at all, wife. And then she frowns at me. And it's like, uh-oh. You like your garbage a bit refined? Yeah. That's appreciable, you know. I know that my taste in weeb shit is a bit weird, but I consume a lot of it as well. And I'm not very fussy. You know, I kind of tend to... I see a certain amount of shows, and I will just noo them up. You know, just suck them all up like some sort of demented evil Hoover. And on the subject of noo, right? This show is bad by your standards. You're bad by my standards. How about that? No, hi, how you doing? I mean, it's fantasy garbage in a lot of ways, but I enjoy that. You know, bad isekai is your favorite genre? Fucking yes! Yes! Excellent. Okay. Wait, I was just so bland? Well, no. I retract my excitable yes heart. I mean, I don't find it too bland myself. I quite enjoy it, and there's enough potential that things are going to be, you know, kind of nutty in the next few episodes that I'm continuing with it. It takes a lot to make me drop a show. You know, a show has to be really bad for me to drop it. I mean, the only other thing that makes me drop shows is, like I said, if the first season really pisses me off. So, like, that's, you know, that's why I didn't carry on with Tower of God. It's why I didn't carry on with Oshi no Code. It's why I wouldn't carry on with Wandering Witch either. Like, all those three, the first season's really annoyed me. So it's like, no, just ditch them. Off they go. Next one. Oh, I like this one. The next show I'm watching is Can You Keep a Secret? Kona Kaisha Niski Nahito ga Imsu. I hope I pronounced that right. Now, let me just say, this is peak, right? You can't see my mouse cursor, but you see the outfit that this lovely office lady is wearing? Peak. This is honestly one of my favourite aesthetics, but moving away from being a gooner for a second, what I like about this one is it's a rom-com, and I mean you know we've already said I'm a sucker for rom-coms, right? The premise of this one is these two, so Yui and Masagu, they get into a relationship. They fancy each other, and you know they do it. They get in bed together and they do it like binch bam, binch bam. But because they work together, they're trying to hide it from each other. Not from each other, sorry. They don't hide it from each other. They're trying to hide it from their co-workers. Because it's like, oh, they're going to frown on office romance. We don't want any of that in our workplace. And there's a lot of shenanigans that come from that. But the actual romance side is really sweet. You know, there's a lot of kind of finding themselves and establishing how the relationship functions. And I like that a lot. I mean, the other thing is that honestly, I really like office ladies. So, like, I picked this up on the grounds that there are office ladies. I didn't need any other reason to watch it. But it's turned out to be, again, quite a high priority show for me to watch. You know, if it comes up on my update day, it's one that I will generally prioritize if I can. You know, if I've got other stuff to watch, it's like, this is, you know, nothing tops up against Amiku MD, because that's the one show that I will prioritize above everything else this season. But this is pretty much, this is like maybe second, third, or fourth behind it. You know, the places 2, 3, and 4 kind of interchange with each other. But at the same time, you know, it's something where I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one goes. And if they were to release any figurines of the, you know, the main girl from this, I'd probably look at buying them, to be honest. You know, we need more figurines of office ladies. There's not enough. There's barely any OL figurines, and that hurts my soul. That hurts my soul, chat. It wounds me. It wounds me, all right? I just, why? You know, there are two, in fact, I'm going to go on a bit of a rant for a second here, all right? There are two types of figurines that we don't have enough of, and there's one type of figurine we have way too much of. So the one that we have way too much of is swimsuits, and I understand that they're popular. I understand why they're popular. I don't begrudge people that. I think the reason I say there's too many of them is that there's just so many. There's just so many. It's like, oh, okay. Swimsuit version. All right, fair enough. What we don't have enough of is office ladies and workout girls, right? Both of those two things I would love to see more figurines of. The ones that we do have are like vaguely pornographic, and I'm like, I don't really want that in my lounge where my wife sits and sometimes we receive visitors. And I can't really put it up in my office because there is a non-nil chance I'd have to go into a conference call with a court judge at some point. And I need to make sure that my office space is like kind of able to cope with that. And, you know, hentai figures, that ain't it, chief. That ain't it. So moving onwards, by the way, I do recommend this one very highly. If you enjoy rom-coms, then this is probably the rom-com of the season, I would say. There's a lot going for it. It's nicely animated. There's office ladies. Time to whip out the DIY model garage kits. I've never actually tried that, you know. I mean, maybe. It's almost tempting to, like, get a 3D printer or find someone who has a 3D printer and get some, like, models made. I was thinking about making myself a V-Roid model and trying that out at some point. I don't know. I might have a think on that. I'm just going to swig my coffee very quickly before we move on to the next one. Because, again, it's another one with a really stupid long name, and we're going to have to muddle our way through pronouncing this. So, one moment. Okay. Next on the list is the daily life of a middle-aged online shopper in another world. I mean, you can see this is going to be trash just based on the name. So this is Arafo Otoko no Isekai Tsuhan Sekatsu. Pretty much, he's a middle-aged guy whose power is to shop online in another world, and he uses this power basically for like trade and stuff. The first episode was kind of scene setting because he's something like my age. He's like late 30s, you know. I'm 37. I think he's 38, 39 or something like that. And in the first episode he finds himself at an inn and he uses his online shopping power to buy perfume or something like that for the one of the maids who works at the inn, and then he draws her like one of his French girls, and she loves that so much that she almost immediately shags him. And I'm just like, oh, okay, so this is a show that's designed to give hope to lonely old men then. Alright, I understand. I mean, it's a filler, you know, it's not great. I'll be honest. It's not great from an objective standpoint, but again, isekai garbage normally knows that it is isekai garbage, and it will just kind of have what fun with it can. And this falls into that category. You know, it's a filler. It's nowhere near... It's not any sort of priority for me to watch, but I am watching it, and I am enjoying it. I am hoping that it's going to do something which goes completely crazy later, and the presence of this JCB claw in the background suggests that something might happen that's a bit weird. Whether or not it does, I don't know. I think we're gonna have to see, but I mean, it's fun enough, you know. Check it out, give it an episode or two, you know. You might drop it, you might have less tolerance for garbage than I do, but I'm enjoying it, you know. I'm enjoying it. You know, the main character is relatable because, you know, he's an old man who shops online, and I'm an old man who shops online. This one's chill. The premise doesn't go overboard with world building or skill. Yeah, it's just like it's not. When I say it's isekai garbage, right? That's not a negative. You know, isekai garbage is just a subgenre of isekai, right? And it's like you've got those isekais where it's like ReZero, where actually it's quite serious. And, you know, ReZero starts off as a deconstruction. And you can tell by how Subaru acts because, you know, he's like, oh, you know, this is just a game. I'm just in a game or something. And then he slowly kind of unlearns that. And it's, you know, you go into actually some pretty serious, you know, high-stakes stuff. But this, no, he's a guy. He's got access to Amazon in another world. That's the show. It's stupid, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it. Oh yeah. Next one is a continuation, which is Dr. Stone Season 4 Science Future. I actually almost didn't watch Season 1 of Dr. Stone when it released back in 2019, which makes me feel very crippled in the old spine. So I remember that Dr. Stone was, I think it was spring 2019, because I'm pretty sure it was not airing when my stepdad died. That was kind of like the second set of JoJo Part 5, but I think it was the season after that. So I almost didn't watch it because I didn't like Senku's face. I didn't like his expression. I thought, oh, this guy looks like an absolute cocky wanker. And you know what, I was right, but it's another show where the author obviously has some expertise with science and they have fun with it. And I mean, I'm watching a 4th season or something. I think that probably speaks to the fact I'm enjoying it, right? You know? I haven't dropped it off at any point. I think this is the last season as well. You need to go continue reading it. Dropped it halfway since it got a bit weird. Yeah, I think that this is the final season where they actually go to space. Well, I know how the story ends, and I'm not going to say how the story ends for the sake of spoiling things for other people. But I think this is the one where like they don't just kind of get all of the answers to what caused the petrification, but I think this is the one where they kind of wrap the entire story up as well. So whether or not that's the case, I don't know. I could be ass wrong with that. For those who don't know what Dr. Stone is, your brief synopsis is a wave of green bullshit goes over the Earth. Everyone gets encased in stone. And then several thousand years later, Senku, the spiky-head git, wakes up and he's like, oh, I'm like well into my science and shit, so I'm going to save humanity. And he sets about using science to save humanity. And generally, it's kind of like ridiculous a lot of the time, but at the same time, it's grounded in a lot of ways as well. It kind of counterbalances those two aspects really quite well. Again, I'd recommend it. I mean, start with the season 1, obviously. Go Team Science, hell yeah. And I mean, I suppose the other thing that's quite neat about it is that it actually, the science that's being used is real world principle as well. So when I say about like people with expertise putting their mark on things, I really like it when the author of a work actually knows a specialist subject and they integrate that. I think that's very cool. Okay. We've got another asshole title. So, even given the worthless appraiser class, I'm actually the strongest. Fukushiko Kanteishi ga Jitsu wa Saikyo Data Naraka de Kiteta Saikyo no Shingen de Muso Suru. My god, people are going to be flaming me in the comments on the VOD for this. They're like, oh my god, your pronunciation's really fucking bad. And I'm like, I know. This is filler. This is kind of trashy in a lot of ways. And again, you can probably work out what's going on given the title. He's given the class of appraiser. He's then trained up by an angry-looking elf to be the strongest. I mean, what else can I say? There's not really a great deal else to say. It's kind of garbage fantasy, if I'm honest. That's fine, though. You know, I don't need my shows to be, like, ridiculously great all the time. You're only watching it because it's free on YouTube. You know what? Yeah, fair. I mean, if you get access to something for free, then absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. If I get a game at the low cost of absolutely fuck all, I'll probably play it, I'll probably play that, and I'm not talking about gifted games. I'm talking about games where it's like, these do not cost anything at all. So like Paper Lily, for example. Paper Lily I actually played because it didn't cost anything. I was like, I need something to slot into my Halloween rotation. I was like, Paper Lily. I like the aesthetic. It costs nothing. I'm going to play this. You're only watching from the legal YouTube channel? Yeah, that's fine. I knew what you meant. You know, when you say that an anime is free on YouTube, I presume that we mean by that, and as you just confirmed, that we're talking there is an official channel for either the show or the studio, and they are releasing the episodes because they have ownership of it on their respective channel. So, I mean, I got what you meant. You know, it's not like you haven't put the Jolly Roger up. You know, it's all above board. So, excuse me. So yeah, again, it's one where the gods give you jobs out. The main character has a shit job, and when he starts training up, he starts becoming extremely, extremely powerful. And I mean, is it good? Not really. Is it fun? Yeah, kind of. Do I prioritize it on my list? No. But I'm still watching it. You know, I'm still enjoying it. It's just one of those shows where it fills in a gap in my schedule. And with 30 shows, I kind of feel like I probably have too many things filling in gaps at the moment. But, you know, I don't care. I'm a catastrophic weeb, and I'm not intending to change that at all. Next. Farmagia. Okay, so you look at this and you think, this looks like Fairy Tail. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't just look like Fairy Tail. The guy who designed all the characters is the author of Fairy Tail. And there's also an organization called the Arashian Seis, which you may remember from Fairy Tail was the Black Guild who were present on I want to say Tenroji Island. I don't think that's right. It's been a while since I've seen that arc, but basically it's the author of Fairy Tail. It's a game adaptation, this one actually. And it's kind of like premise-wise a cross between Stardew Valley and Pokemon. I think so, right? You know what? I mostly picked it up because of the fact that Fairy Tail's author is involved, and I like Fairy Tail. I've got, you know, as a figurine basically right next to me, and then I've got a framed art of the strongest team up in my office just up to my right up there as well. So basically, what happens here is a very nasty bad guy takes power, and he puts his will across the land's inhabitants. And these guys are like, right, okay, we need to get our farming Pokemon to help defeat him. And with their farming Pokemon and the power of friendship, they set about defeating him. And, I mean, it's a game adaptation anime. You know, you kind of know what you're getting into with these. They're never great. It's watchable. It's pretty fun. I like the animation style. I like the character design. Of all the stuff I'm watching, this is probably, though, the most likely one that doesn't make the cut after we get through like 3 or 4 episodes. So it's currently sat at 5.38 on my anime list, and that doesn't normally stop me. You know, I've watched some stuff with much lower ratings than that, but I think it's mostly the premise is good, the story's pretty good. The rest of kind of the setting, the facts of game adaptation, they always feel a bit limited to me. So we'll see. You know, I'm giving it more time than I have at this point, and I'll probably make a bit more of an objective assessment. You know, next 2 or 3 episodes maybe. I mean, I'll probably finish it anyway because I like the appearance, and if it can fill in a gap in the schedule, then you know what, fine. Next on the list, then, number 13, we're coming on for halfway there. Oh my god, we actually almost got there. Is Flower and Asura, Hanawasaku Shura no Gotoku. So this one is a coming-of-age show. This one involves a recital club at the main character's school. So basically, your main character, she's from an island with a small population. She loves reading to the local children. And then the broadcasting club president, who is the taller of the 2 girls in that. Give me a second. My god, that fart was nuclear. your broadcasting club president in the foreground there, she picks up on your main character's ability with recitals and narration, and so, okay, why don't you join our club? And so far, at first I thought it was just going to be, like, almost slice of life in a lot of ways. Slice of life in the sense that, not very much happens, but they've actually got like a whole thing going on where the teacher who oversees the club is a complete critical dick. And I feel like it's in the way that he's going to shape them into being very good at what they do. So kind of like, Whiplash, the film with the jazz drummer. And I mean, I know that I hate jazz drummers because they're insufferable dickheads almost every single time I speak with one. But the teacher in that, like, really kind of grilling his student to make him the best version of him that he could be, even if it was very harsh in the way he did it. That's how the teacher comes across in this. It's worth a watch. It's filling a gap. It's not a priority show for me. But actually, you know what? It's pretty cool. I will probably watch this one to the end. The premise is something I've not really seen before, and that intrigues me. I like it when there's something where I've not seen the idea for this show yet. And, it's got kind of a unique vibe in that sense. So, lesser version of GTO. I don't know if I know GTO. Hold on. Let me just refresh myself. Hold on. GTO anime. Great Teacher Aniska. I don't know that one. Hold on. Is there a... Just having a quick look here. Oh, wow. It's an old anime. Okay. I might have to have a look into that then. Wow, that... Original release date of episode 1, June the 30th, 99. I wasn't even in secondary school at that point. It's a cult classic. It looks pretty neat. Hang on a minute. I've got a notepad for stuff I want to look at later. There we go. Yeah, I've got a notepad where I jot stuff down. I jot stuff down for like later review. And if I see something in stream that I want to review later on or have a look into at another time, so yeah, we'll have a look at that at another point. But this one, the teacher is kind of a secondary character in this. He's there almost in an antagonistic role at this point, but it seems very much to me like he's trying to train these girls into becoming much more skilled at their craft, and I'm interested in that because I love it when you've got a very strong theme of self-improvement. And hold on, my god, that protein shake went right through me. Holy shit. Okay, next. Oh boy. Okay, you might know this one, Freeman. From bureaucrat to villainous, Dad's been reincarnated. Akiyaku Reijo Tensei Oji-san. So, the best way I could describe this anime is imagine if Randa Nuring, the orc VTuber, reincarnates as the villainess. That's it. That's the plot. So Dad has I think he has a heart attack or something, and he just straight up fucking dies. And he then reincarnates into the otome game that his daughter was playing. You gave it a go and it didn't disappoint. No, it's another of those shows where it knows that it's fucking dumb, and it's just gonna have a lot of fun with it. Yeah, so he reincarnates into the game that his daughter used to play. He only knows a little bit about it because he saw it like secondhand through watching her play it, and he's got no idea how to be a villainess. So he's just like, he tries his best to play the role, but then 9 times out of 10 he's just saying supportive dad stuff to the people around him, and it ends up with the main character in the game, who is the pink-haired girl next to him, basically falling in love with him. So I think that we're gonna find some like Yuri situations coming up very soon. Which I suppose should not surprise me too much. He's also looking like he's going to disrupt the story of the game itself as well. So it's not clear if he's actually inside the game or if he's just inside the world of it. So the series is slowly turning into the back arena scenario, yeah. But it's turning into it for a completely different reason. Like, he doesn't know that if he's the villainess, you know, he doesn't think, oh, if I don't like do something, I'm gonna die horribly. He's just like, I'm a dad. How do I approach this situation as the villainess? I don't understand what I'm doing. What are the young people up to these days? How would a young person deal with this situation? And he's so hilariously out of touch with the character he's supposed to be playing, and it's just shenanigans throughout the entire runtime of each episode. Again, it's not a priority show, but it's very worth a watch. I normally avoid villainous shows these days because I got fed up of them. Like, I know that they're a very specific subgenre, but... And this is going to sound weird coming from someone who watches isekai garbage, right? The problem I've got with villainess animes is that almost all of them have the exact same premise. And that premise is not quite interesting enough to keep me hooked. Whereas isekai garbage, I am inured enough to that, I can generally deal with it a lot better. But this one, I was like, an old man reincarnates as the villainess? Okay. Yeah, I'll give that a try. I'll give it a try, sure. Why not? So, we'll move on from there. Next on my list is... yeah, we've got more businessmen. Headhunted to another world, from Salaryman to Big Four. Salaryman ga isekai ne itara shiteno ni nata hanashi. So, in this one, your main character gets summoned to another world. I believe it's just at the point that he's about to die. So he doesn't actually die, as my recollection. So I'm just checking Mal to refresh myself. Yeah, so he gets summoned to another world by the Demon Overlord, and the Demon Overlord is just like, haha, now you will join my army as one of my overlords. And he's just like, but I'm just some guy. And the Demon Overlord is like, yes, that's why I'm making one of my generals, because you're just some guy with an understanding of logistics and bullshit. And it is leading to some, you know, shenanigans. You've read this, the anime's okay. Yeah, I mean, it's not a high priority one. It's a filler for me again. But at the same time, the concept of it is dumb enough to keep me kind of hooked. I'll be honest, like, there were three things that kind of made me watch this in the first place. One is we got some armpits and we got some tummy going on there, and then the second is he's a middle-aged office worker, so relatable. So yeah, when I say that key arts can sucker me into watching something, there are certain things which will make it much more likely for me to get suckered into watching something. Oh god. It's alright. You know, it's fun enough. It's a weird idea. It's executed well enough. I'm enjoying it. Is it one, again, that I would particularly go out of my way to watch? Not really. I'll pick it up when I've watched the other stuff, which is priority. But at the same time, you know, I don't see myself dropping this one. I will probably, like, finish this one out. I don't have, really much else to say on that one. We are halfway through the list now, though. You see that I'm an armpit enjoyer? Oh, yeah. Yeah, and knee pits as well. I like knee pits. People don't appreciate the back of the knee quite enough, but, like, armpits are nice. They're nice. They're shapely. But the back of the knee, that's where it's at, you know? Like, you get that shapely bend for the back of the thigh, and then it goes back into the calf, and it's just, that's peak. Absolute peak. So many people are like, shit, so what the fuck do you mean knee pits? Is there something wrong with you? Have you got brain damage? Like, yes, I do have brain damage. There's a YouTube short about my brain damage. Here's a link to it. But I'm not brain damaged on this point. How scandalous. I know. Oh, dear. I mean, this is worth a watch. You know, it's fun enough. Give me a second. Jesus. I don't know what I've eaten something today that ain't agreed with me. Anyway, moving on. Honey lemon soda. This is a it's not really a rom-com. It's more of a coming of age romantic drama, I would say. So your overall premise with this one is that the main character is socially awkward. That's relatable content straight away from the get-go. Main character is socially awkward. She gets described by her peers as being a stone because she keeps freezing up in front of people. She's constantly bullied, and then within her first week, she's struggling at her new school again. Oh dear. She bumps into the main lad, the blonde guy there, Kai, Mura. He is kind of a knob, but just kind of in the way that he's like acting cool. He seems to be pretty decent, like deep down. And then he defends her against some bullies, and she falls in love with him. And there's hints that he might like her back. So again, I like this whole sort of blossoming romance thing, especially between people who are mismatched, maybe a little bit awkward. You know, I think that's kind of neat. I think that's kind of neat to see. I'm interested to see where this one goes exactly, because it's got some darkness in the background there. You know, it's not all flowers and sunshine like the Germans, you know. It's got some quite nasty bullying stuff going on at times, but then, you know, you then have Mura going through with beating up the bully, so it's like, actually, maybe things would be kind of, you know, alright for them together. Again, not a high priority show, but I am enjoying it. I plan to see it through to the end. I quite like the vibe in this one, and, you know, things like that, generally, I would recommend. Yeah. This one as well, this is becoming a priority show. It wasn't to begin with at all. I almost didn't watch it, but I'm glad I did, which is I'm getting married to a girl I hate in my class. Kurasu no dai kirai na joshi tukekon suru koto ni nat. The general gist of this one is the main character and the main female character hate each other. They have a big rivalry. They do not get on at all. They get summoned to a meeting with his grandpa and her grandma, and they get told, hey, you guys need to get married right now. And then they're like, no, we're not doing that. Fuck off, we're not doing that. And then his granddad says to him, if you don't get married to her, oh dear, I guess that you're not going to inherit my company, then no one's going to take over. Oh dear, I'm going to have to close it down. So, all right, I'll marry her for the sake of capitalism. And it's rocky to begin with. But actually, it seems like, again, there's budding romance there, like actual romance, which is nice, you know. Seeing them actually realise that they like each other is kind of cute, you know. I don't know exactly how the other girls in this one who you can see in the key art are going to factor into things just yet. I have suspicions that the blonde one has feelings for the main character already. Whether I am right with that remains to be seen. I think there's enough hints to kind of make an educated guess at this, but I have very much enjoyed seeing how the main character starts to become a man. And by that I mean, you know, he's growing up, he's maturing emotionally, he's able to actually articulate his feelings a little bit better and, you know, take responsibility for things. They have quite a nice vibe when they're in the house together. You know, they're actually a very cute couple, although they get very angry to admit that. So yeah, this one is neat. It's I am starting to bump this up on the priority list to watch when it updates. I think it updates on a Friday night, so I normally can't watch it until Saturday morning, but like I'll normally like get up on Saturday morning, and this is probably going to be one of the first things I throw on then. Moving on. I'm living with an otaku neat kunoichi. Ita kunoichi to Nazca dose hajimemashita. So the main ninja is a neat. She doesn't like going outside. She doesn't like having her lifestyle disturbed. She moves in with the main character. Why was it they moved in together again? I've watched it when it dropped, because I was like, oh cool, Kiel looks pretty cool. Yeah, there we go. So he gets attacked by a demon. The main Kunoichi, Shizuri, saves him, and then moves in with him. And then he realizes when she's not working, oh my god, she's a fucking weeb neat. Sits around playing games all day. And he's basically house husbanding for her. And then you've got other ninjas who are coming in and causing shenanigans. I mean, there's an odd format to this one. It's broken up. Instead of being... Oh, I've just gone back one. Why did I do that? I don't know why I did that. Basically... it's split into two halves per episode. So you've got, like, say, the first half of the episode will be one episode, and it's almost like it's being a 24-episode season, but they release two at once in the 23-minute block. I mean, again, not a high-priority show for me, but it's fun enough. I'm enjoying it. It's decent. You know, it's worth a watch if you fancy something that's a little bit weird. The character designs are, you know, pretty cool. I think that for this one, whether or not it becomes like properly good or not will depend on how they deal with the romance between Shizuri and the main character. But I mean, they might not do anything with it, and that'd be fine. You know, that if they don't do anything with it, that would also be, you know, fine as far as I'd see it. The next one I've been enjoying a bit more recently. I didn't think it was going to be one that was... I thought this was going to be filler, but it's proving to be a bit more than filler. And that is, I left my A-rank party to help my former students reach the dungeon depths. A-rank party o Redatsu Shika Orewa Moto Oshigotachi to make you Shinbu o Mezasu. This one's got some interesting overtones which have come in the last two episodes specifically. So, the premise is exactly what it says in the tin. Your main character leaves his A-ranked party and he forms a new party called Clover with his 3 students, one of whom is a cute white-haired elf, which always nets points. One looks like Tsubaki Yayoi, and one looks like what's her name from Mushoku Tensei. So I mean, you know, you've got a bunch of different like cute anime girl archetypes. You kind of enjoy this one just because the main character's job class. I mean, yeah, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. For me, with this one, what I'm enjoying now is that there's a lot of stuff turning up about the previous... not Eris, no, it was Roxy, that's the one. I'm thinking of Roxy. I couldn't think of her name for a second there. Roxy Magurdia, the blue-haired one. Yeah. So, it looks now, though... It looks now as though, actually, Yuki, the main character, is actually why his previous party was actually able to succeed at all. They fall apart without him. And like in episode 2, one of the members of his old party gets very severely wounded to the point where she almost dies. Like she gets grabbed by some sort of wolf thing or some sort of lizard thing in its mouth and like shook around, really badly injured. And episode 3 ends with like it kind of... Episode 3 is split between Clover going on their adventures and doing some cool shit and, you know, growing as a party, and then the old party that he was in having a really bad time of it. Like the PTSD breakdown that one of the members of his old party has at the end of episode 3, I was like, okay, there's more depth to this than I thought there would be, and I like that. So it's clambering the priority list again. It's something where... Hey, Zach, how you doing? Just got out of church? Thanks for swinging by. I'm having a good day, hope you are too. We're going over what animes I'm watching this season. All 31 of them. Because I'm watching way too much anime because I'm a catastrophic weeb. So, I would probably like to read the light novel of this one if I got a chance. The character design is really, really good. I mean, you look at anything where there is a white-haired elf girl, you know, white-haired elf girl's got to be one of my favourite aesthetics. It's probably quite telling that my Oshi, in terms of streamers, is a white-haired elf girl. But we'll come back to that because there's an anime which may as well be about her in my list. Oh boy. Watch this one, it's good. This one is good, and I'm really interested to see how they deal with the previous party falling apart. And like the leader of the old party came up to the main character in the most recent episode. He was genuinely not just a bit hostile, but like quite aggressive about the fact that his former handyman did not want to join his party again. Oh, give me a second, chat. The hell did I eat today? White hair, dark skin elf? Yeah. I mean, as long as they're an elf girl with white hair, it's all good for me. But yeah, I mean, her general aesthetic is very, very nice. I think that her voice actress as well is one of my favourites, which really does quite help there. But yeah, watch this one. Definitely one to watch. Next, this one's quite a high ticket one. And actually, I've got a couple of figurines on my wish list from this one already. I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time. Guild no uketsukejo desu ga, zangyo wa ia nanade boss wa solo tabatsu shilo to omoimasu. Fucking hell, I almost got through that one. There's a lot of relatable content in this one. There is a lot of very relatable content in this show. Namely, she hates doing overtime. She hates doing unpaid work. And she will do anything it takes to get out of doing it. And I think that's based as fuck. I, as well, will do whatever I can to not work overtime. I mean, I just don't work overtime. You know, I point blank will not work for free. So, you know, the main character moonlights as the executioner. So she has that giant ass hammer. Yeah, I don't normally think about the guild receptionist, and then it turns out she's inherited a deer skill, which makes her ridiculously strong to the point where she can fight gods. This is low-key a hidden rom-com. I thought there was a hint of that, you know. I thought there was a hint of that. I mean, I was kind of wanting to see how that side pans out before I start applying labels like that to it, but I'm glad to see that I haven't misread the room, you know. I think that Alina has a lot going for her as a character. You know, the general hatred of any unnecessary work coupled with resolute professionalism coupled with a dark side which is very, very angry and grumpy and acerbic. It's like, she's just like me for real. She's just like me. And I will watch this one ahead of other shows if I get a chance to. There's two figurines, like I said, that are coming out for the show that are on my wish list. So one of them is the... it's not a pop-up parade. It's a... I want to say it's a Desktop X Decorate, which is her with the hammer. And there's another one which is a Desktop Cute, which is like... it might be a relax time, actually. I'll have to double-check that. But yeah, there's two figures coming out in this year for this show that I've got like to get on my pre-orders. So this is definitely one to watch. The fight is hype worthy. Yeah, the fights are so good in this. The fights are really good. They're I mean, again, the hammer is bigger than she is, and honestly, like, anime girls wielding weapons that are several times bigger than they are is something I'm very fond of. Like, look at S from Blaze Blue. I love that look. You know, tiny little girl with a sword that is longer than she is tall, and it's just about as wide as she is as well. Amazing. You love to see it. You love to see it. Give me a second. I'm just going to snuff some fluid down again. Delectable. Oh, no, what happened there? Okay. Oh, it's because I hit the button on my mouse, didn't I? Okay. Next one is, I want to escape from princess lessons. Kisaki Kyoiku Kara Nigitai Watashi. So this one is pretty unique in terms of the way it's set up, I would say. Your main character, Letitia, is betrothed to Clark the Prince. and she has been since she was 7 years old. And she doesn't like that. She's a free spirit. She doesn't want to be engaged to him. And she then sees he's come to a ball and there's someone else on his arm. She's like, fuck yeah, I'm out of this engagement. Yippee. And she thinks the engagement's broken off, fucks off to the countryside to be a farmer, and then suddenly the prince shows up. The prince shows up and he's just like, hey baby, we're engaged and I'm going to make you love me. And not in a creepy way, but he's trying to like win her affection. So she looks like another redhead protagonist. She does kind of, doesn't she? Yeah. You watched one episode, didn't click with you? That's fine. It's definitely a filler anime for me. It's definitely a filler show, but it's enjoyable enough, you know. I think there's enough overtures of romance for it to interest me. And there's enough to keep me coming back to it. So whether or not it maintains that, I don't know. You know, it's again one of those shows that is most likely to be dropped through the season. And it's not through anything to do with the show itself. It's more the fact I've got so much on at the minute. If I'm going to start dropping shows, then the ones that are lowest on my priority list are probably the ones on the chopping block, to be fair. Still, worth a look. You know, it's fun enough. I'd recommend checking out an episode or two, maybe. And then we go on to Magic Maker. How to make magic in another world. Magic Maker. Isekai Maho no Tsukurikata. So the general premise is he is isekai'd into another world, and there is no magic there. Uh-oh, that's not good. So the way that he actually isekais is very funny. He gets to 30. And he's like, I'm a wizard now because I've never had sex at 30. He tries to cast a spell and instantly fails. And then he just fucking dies. Like, eh. And when he wakes up, he has reincarnated into a world that doesn't have magic. But he actually discovers that, there actually is magic. And he's like, right, okay, I'm just going to be the first guy to actually create magic and codify it in this world. You're always interested in magic building genre? Yeah, it's neat, you know? It's neat. The character designs in the key art are actually a little bit misleading because at the point in the story that you're up to about 2.5 episodes in, they're a bit older than they are in this. So he's been taking some time to actually work on his craft. He has... excuse me. He's started to become a bit of a big goddamn deal. But it's a fun show, and I'm interested to see where it goes next. I mean, it has the potential to crash and burn spectacularly, but it also has the potential to be actually pretty damn good. So, as if a modern guy reincarnated in a low-tech world and became the inventor of things, it's less that he became the inventor of things, more that like he was like, right, I'm just if we don't have magic here, I'm going to start making magic. You know, it's not something he had an expertise in from a previous life. I think that's a completely different genre. Like, you know, I mean, we could make up one right now. So like, reincarnated into a society that doesn't believe in magic. I was a doctor in my previous life, and I'm going to use my overpowered doctoring skill to heal all the wounds. And then you're just like, the fuck was in that cigarette I just smoked? And then you realise, oh wait, no, it was a doobie. Ah shit. And then you start tripping balls. Yes. No, this is a decent show. I'd recommend giving it a check out, most certainly. Yeah. The next one on my list, if you give me a second, my guts are rumbling again. Hold on, chat. Oh, bloody hell. Another good one, Isekai Animal Veteran genre. I think I've seen one or two of them. I think I've seen some of those, you know? I can't remember, but it sounds familiar. I should have a look into that, really. The next one on my list, though, is Meraka Kuroiwa is impervious to my charms. Kuroiwa Meraka ni watashi no kawaii ga tsujinai. So, this one is a bit of a send-up of the romantic comedy genre, in the sense that the main character is a monk in training. So, you've got your main girl, Mona, and then you've got your main boy, who is Kuroiwa, and she's incredibly cute, and she knows it, and she uses that to basically make everyone love her. And then she encounters him when he has come to school, and he's completely immune to it, and she doesn't like that, and she keeps on going out of her way to put him in situations where he will fall in love with her. But what she doesn't know is that he's training to be a monk, and that's why he keeps pinching his nose and walking away and, you know, trying to focus on a mantra. Yeah. So, what is it with monks and harems? See, monks give the most world-blowing love when you actually get them into bed, because they have it built up for so long that, like, you know, they get into bed and the monk takes off his pants and suddenly it's like Raiden versus Senator, and you actually get the music in the background, and you know, it's just apocalyptic. It's apocalyptic sex. But no, we're kind of by the by here. It does seem like a show where the main characters are almost certainly going to end up as a couple, and it's kind of seeing how they get to that point, which is proving to be the fun thing. It's got a bit of a weird OP. It's probably got the weakest OP this season, which is kind of annoying. But the show itself is, you know, pretty fun. You know, I can see myself seeing this one through to the end of the season. I'm pretty much intending to as well. A lot of people don't like harem shows, and I get why. I don't mind them. I mean, I watched the two-timer anime, and I then watched the second season of that as well. So, yeah, I think that my ability to gainsay people watching that sort of thing is questionable at best. I'm learning things about myself that I wish I didn't tonight, chat, but, well, there we are, I suppose. There we are. Moving semi-swiftly onwards, I suppose. I'm a noble on the brink of ruin, so I might as well try mastering magic. Botsuraku yote no kizuku dakedo himadata kara maho wo kiwamete mita. So this one has, again, some potential to elevate itself to where it sits on my list right now. I would describe this one at this point as being alright. It's pretty much what it says on the tin. So your main character has reincarnated as a noble, and his house is falling to bits, and then he basically sets himself to learning magic, and then he becomes actually very powerful due to that fact. And where this one has the potential to elevate itself is that when he starts becoming quite powerful and, you know, doing heroic shit, saving people, making a name for himself, whilst the kingdom and his father are just like, yeah, this is meant, we like you, you're good for everyone, his brothers are, at least in part, not very happy about it. There's some sibling tension going on there that could blossom into beyond a rivalry. We're talking like maybe outright sort of like hostility, and that's like, okay, yeah. I mostly picked this one up because the character designs are cute, but at the same time, it's like when you got a little bit of depth to it, yeah. You're not sure if you've read it or not. I wasn't aware of this one before the anime came out, so I'm purely going on the anime with this one. But at the same time, it's like, okay, yeah. It's neat, you know. It's fun. It fills a gap in the schedule slots. It might be one that I start prioritizing a bit more if it improves itself then I could see myself bumping it up on the priority list. It's a 6.39 on Mal at the minute, so kind of average in that sense, but then a lot of the stuff I'm watching is, you know, around about that sort of rating, and I'm quite generous with my own ratings anyway, so, you know, I'm not a good person to get metrics off of in that sense. So we mentioned this next one before. The next one, actually, I watched, not because of the key art, but I watched this next one because of the description of what the show is. And this one is Okitsura fell in love with an Okinawan girl, but I just wish I knew what she's saying. Okinawa deski ni nata koga hogen sugite surasugiru. I hope I pronounced that right. So, this show is about a chap who moves to Okinawa. So he goes to Okinawa and he falls in love with this lass who's in the foreground with the red cap. He falls in love with her, but she very frequently speaks in Okinawan dialect, and he can't understand a fucking word of that. So he's got Higa-san, who is the girl who stood up, who translates for him. Does she have a thick accent? No, it's more like Okinawan Japanese is almost a different language in a lot of ways. But the thick accent point that you make is actually why I wanted to watch this one, because I'm originally from the south coast of England. When I first moved up to Yorkshire, the accent in the area that I live in specifically is so thick and difficult to understand if you're from outside that my wife actually had to translate what her best friend was saying to me. I didn't understand what she was saying. So it's like this one actually has a bit of a personal meaning to me, because it kind of like reminds me of when I first moved up here. And a lot of the experience is very similar in terms of what the main character is kind of experiencing. I feel like this one is kind of there to sell tourism to Okinawa, to be honest. So it's very much kind of like, this is why where we live is cool. Dang, he's thick accent. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of stuff about... there's a lot of stuff in terms of here's stuff in Okinawa that's cool. But there's a lot of cultural stuff as well. So I always knew that Okinawa was a bit of an outlier in terms of Japan, much like, I suppose, I mean, Hawaii is probably a bad example because annexation and all that, but I feel like Okinawa is not quite as annexed and a bit more integrated with mainland Japan. I mean, if anyone wants to correct me on that, by all means. I could well be wrong on that. But with this one, you know, there's a lot of... They've had a cultural festival already. They've been going through specifics to the region, which I think is very, very cool. The main character actually learning about the culture of where he's moved to as well is very neat. And like I said, it draws a lot of personal parallels to when I moved to Yorkshire initially, which I think, again, is, you know, very cool. You know, I'm quite happy to see that sort of thing. And it's kind of cool learning about Okinawa as well, because I've never really, looked very much into the area myself. So to see it kind of represented to the point where it's like, hey, here's almost an educational thing about the region. So, okay, yeah, I can get on board with that. Sure, I'll get on board with that. So, it's filler, but it's a very neat bit of filler. And I would... Hold on. My God. Oh, Jesus. It's filler, but I would recommend it. Sorry, I'm just drowning in my own juices there. Oh, no. The next one is most certainly filler. I mean, the next few are filler, if I'm completely honest. But we go on to possibly the greatest alchemist of all time, Izure Saikyo no Renkinjutsushi. It's counterintuitive the UK is like that, while the US does have regional accents. See, the thing with the UK is that whilst it's very small compared to America, I mean, you can fit the entire UK into Texas as far as I understand it. We have a very significant number of regional dialects which are very disparate across a small area. And you would have to ask someone who is a linguist or an anthropologist as to why that's the case. I get the feeling that it's because, without wanting to oversimplify it, America has always been a little bit more of a united country since becoming America, in the sense that, you know, it had a common primary language, and while you had people coming from all over the place and kind of mingling in, it's like soup, you know, it's like a potluck, you know, everyone throws their accents in, you potluck it into a soup bowl, and that's now your accent for the area. Whereas in the UK, you had a large number of small kingdoms which were in a very small area. So, you know, you had like Cornwall, you had Wales, you had Scotland, Mercia, Wessex, then you had Danelaw, and there were a few others as well kind of mixed in with that as well. And what you then end up with is a lot of different, not necessarily languages, but a lot of different ways of speaking. I mean, I think Danelaw was, you know, speaking Danish, for example. If you look at the naming of places back in the Saxon era, you had different names for, say, York. I mean, York can still be referred to as Jorvik, which is the Viking name for it, the Danish name for it. And then what's then happened is because in the Middle Ages people in England did not really move around all that much, the accents in specific areas got kind of entrenched. So, like, if you get someone from Dorset and they got that farmer accent down there, you know, you go to the West Country and you speak to someone in the West Country and they'll probably speak like this. And, you know, then you come up to Yorkshire and they're kind of speaking like I do, you know, like this. And, I mean, Yorkshire and Dorset are about 250 miles apart, thereabouts, you know, maybe 300 miles. You've got Birmingham in between. You've got Oxfordshire, where, like, you know, the posh gits live. And it's just like there's so many different accents in the UK. It's mad. It's mad that there's so many. I don't really get why. And like I said, you have to speak to a linguist as to the reason. But it's interesting to see how the language kind of develops. And especially there's regional slang as well. Like, Yorkshire is full of regional slang. And I try to avoid using it too much on stream, because if you're not from here, it probably won't make sense. But at the same time, you know, it's difficult not to sometimes, because you get so used to using it. Like, you know, you see someone and, you know, you've not seen them from it. It's like, oh, that it, cocker. And I'm like, you know, if you're not from Yorkshire, you just be like, what the fuck? But if you're from Yorkshire, it's like, oh, not bad, that. And it's like, eh. Having to explain Yorkshireese to non-Brits is always fun. And also, typing out Yorkshireese is when it looks like really silly. Let me see if I can type some Yorkshireese out. I've just sent some Yorkshireese to Twitch chat, right? And that's how it looks if you type it out. It's really, really nuts. But yeah, going back to the list, this show, this is the most hit and miss anime. You read it and at the same, you don't know if you'd vouch for it. And let me just, there we go. I mean, it's fun enough, I would say. Again, it's a low priority one for me. The general premise of this one is that Bro is an alchemist. I mean, do we have anything more to say, really? You know, he might even be the greatest alchemist. He's basically been mixed in with a group of heroes who get summoned to another world. And he wants to live a quiet life, so the goddess is like, hey, I'm sorry, pick any skill you want and we'll make it happen. He's like, I want to be... I just want to be an alchemist and just bing chill. And he can now make basically anything he wants. And mostly it seems... It's a bit sad the regional dialects don't have official spellings. The thing is, in theory, we all speak a common language. In practice, it's many variations of a common language. The redhead looks a bit like Chihuahua. Yeah, she does, doesn't she? Like, the only thing she's missing is the little chef's hat. I mean, look, she's almost. I mean, she's even got like a little phoenix feather going on there. I feel like with a lot of the designs, it's probably intentional. Like if you look at this lass up here, she almost looks like Luna. You know, she looks like Luna-chan. And then, yeah, I mean, you know, generic green, blonde elf. I like elves, you know. I feel as though the Emperor will strike me down for this, but I look at Eldar and I'm just like, yes, I see why Primarch Gilliman is balls deep in the Eldar. No, but this is filler. I think that Freeman's assessment of it being hit and miss is probably fair. Like, at the moment, it's kind of mid. Could it get better? Maybe. Maybe. I mean, I'd be willing to see that. I'd be happy to see that, but do I expect to see it? Probably not so much. Probably not so much. I think it's worth checking out if you're into isekai. I mean, it's a garbage isekai. I'm fine with that. I mean, I said before that I like garbage isekai, so, you know, I'm enjoying it well enough. It's pretty low priority. Again, it's one of those shows which, if I run out of time to watch stuff, it's semi-likely to get cut from the schedule, but I'd be more willing to give this one a bit of leeway on the grounds that it is a trash isekai. The next one is probably not quite so lucky in that sense, which is Promise of Wizard, Mahotsukai no Yakusoku. So, this is a game adaptation again, and game adaptation shows are always hit and miss. Some shows take time to hit their stride, others drop off. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And I think that's why I'm more willing than most to give shows a decent shot at impressing me. So this one is, well, the way that this one is actually built is as a like a shoujo romance show. As I understand it, the game it's based on has characters who you can self-insert, so you can basically play anyone, but this one's just like, now we're going to go with a girl surrounded by lots of handsome men. So the main character, Akira Masaki is the main character. She gets somehow into a world where wizards and humans coexist, and then the moon is very cross with them. She's accidentally isekai'd into the world of Majora's Mask, and the moon's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you all. But she's been summoned as the saint, the sage, sorry, not the saint. It's very much like the saint's magic power is omnipotent in a lot of ways. It's kind of mid, I suppose. And again, because it's a game adaptation, it's more likely than most to actually get dropped off of my list generally. But it's been decent enough so far. I mean, I'd say give it a couple of episodes and see what you reckon. Mostly I was watching it because I was like, oh, it could be like an otome romance. Okay. And I mean, I'll be honest, I kind of like those. You know? I know they're not aimed at, like, guys, but I don't really give a shit. You know? I just watch whatever the fuck I want. It's worth a watch, I'd say. You know, give it a chance. You know, your mileage may vary. I think it's pretty decent, but whether or not other people would agree or disagree, well, that's for them to decide, isn't it? So we then. Oh, this next one's so dumb. This next one's so fucking dumb. The Red Ranger becomes an adventurer in another world. Sentai Redo Isekai de Bokinsha ni Naru. I mean, the title is the explanation. The main character is Sentai Red. He is the Red Ranger. He dies in battle against the villains that the Rangers are battling against, and he isekais into another one. No comment, next meme. I mean, it is garbage isekai of the highest quality, but I think actually this one reminds me. Did you ever watch Kemono Michi, Animal Road? The one where the main character, he doesn't die. He just gets summoned midway through a wrestling match to another world by a princess who's like, oh my god, you're the hero. You're going to save us all. And he instantly German suplexes her and then fucks off to open a pet shop. This is like that. It's an absolute acid trip. Like, he's reincarnated into another world, but he has retained his Power Ranger powers. Yeah, Kemono Michi's great. Kemono Michi was one of my favourite shows that season. Absolutely phenomenal. But this one is, like, a shitpost in that sense. You know, it's funny. It's very self-aware, and it has a lot of fun with the fact that it's really stupid. It has some potential for some legitimate growth, but I kind of hope it doesn't bother. And I know that seems a bit of a weird thing to say, but the reason I hope it doesn't bother with trying to go down the character development route is that actually it's like, does a show like that need that? Or can it just be butterfuck insane for the sake of it? Because so far it's just been butterfuck insane for the sake of it, and that's worked. You know, that's been cool. I've enjoyed it for that fact. So this one, I would at least give it a shot. You know, it's fun. It's really dumb, but it's fun. It knows that it's stupid. It has a lot of enjoyable moments because of that fact. And, I mean, just to give you an example, actually, there's one scene in... I can't remember if it was the most recent episode or the one before that, but he tries to summon his Megazord inside of a cave. And he's not really calculated the fact the thing is absolutely massive. And it doesn't just kill the monster that he's trying to destroy, it almost squashes his entire team as well. And he's just like, oh, whoopsie doopsie, that wasn't intended. But it's just the shenanigans like that. That's why it reminds me of Kemono Michi, because it's just an excuse for some really dumbass shenanigans. And you know what? I'm for that. I am for that. The next one, I watched this one earlier. This one got dark today. So the next one is Tasukare Hotel, and the premise of this one is that there is a place where souls go when someone is on the cusp of death, and if someone can't go to the afterlife yet, they go to the hotel. So Neko, the main character, and it's quite appropriate because she quite often does the cat smile, she finds herself there, but then she's like, well, unexpected, but then she starts working there as an employee. You know, okay, fair enough. And a lot of it comes down to finding out who these souls actually were, because when they come in, they've lost some aspect of their identity, but they've got enough clues to try and work out who they were. And it's either guiding them to leave the hotel so that they can wake up again and carry on with their lives, or, you know, guiding them towards the afterlife. I mean, today's episode was, like, really dark. You know, you had two friends come in, and it ended with a conflict between them where one of them died. But if someone dies in the hotel because of the actions of someone else in there, firstly, the person who's dies in real life, and, you know, their soul basically dissolves. But the person who has killed them in there will get taken to hell. You know, and it was, like, actually, like, kind of jarring to see. Just gonna have a swig of my water real quick. Hang on, give me a sec. Reminds you of Angel Beats, but darker. You know what? My guitarist is probably gonna punch me for this. But, hang on, have I seen Angel Beats? Hold on. Have I seen Angel Beats? Hold on. Let me just remind myself. No, I have. Yes, I had to remind myself just then. But no, I have seen Angel Beats. Yeah, for a second I thought I hadn't seen it, but it's like, no, I just forgot that I'd seen it. No, I have definitely seen it, because to remind myself, there's a guy who speaks in, like, a fake American accent in Angel Beats, isn't there? It's like a fake Yankee. Yeah, I remember this one now. Yeah, it's kind of like Angel Beats in a way. There are similarities, but it's mostly like the hotel exists as... It's not it's not a purgatory for people to... Yeah, Angel Beats is the high school limbo one. Yeah. So this one is kind of like that in the sense that the hotel is a limbo state, but the hotel isn't really designed to guide people into the afterlife specifically. It's more designed to let them decide if they want to pass into the afterlife or if they want to go back to living. It's got quite an interesting vibe to it. In a lot of ways, it kind of reminded me of Shadow's House, but without like the conspiracy stuff going on in the background. So the vibe is generally almost like the Spencer Mansion from Resident Evil. It's kind of like, it's not creepy, but it's also not. There's obviously something weird going on there, and I'm kind of interested to see where they take it to get there. I would give this one a go. Again, not a priority show, but I'm not likely to drop this one. This was actually, I think, the first show this season that aired that I watched. So, it's pretty neat. It's absolutely worth giving a bit of time to. So yeah, go watch it. This is the one I mentioned earlier about the Catholics being evil, which is Ubelblatt or Jubelblatt. I missed the umlauts there. Whoopsie doopsie. So this one is a revenge show. I am a sucker for a lovely revenge story. Essentially, your main character, who is this chap, and I can't think off the top of my head what his name was. All the names are extremely German. There is gratuitous German in this one. Let me just find out where his name was. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't fucking remember it. Hold on. Where's it gone? Here we go. That's it. It's Koinzel. So, effectively, Koinzel is not quite the reincarnation of a betrayed hero, but he may as well be from a functional standpoint. And he was betrayed many, many years ago by the people now regarded as the heroes of this time, the 7 heroes in the background here. And he's now out for revenge against them. And there are a lot of evil Catholic monks who are standing between him and his revenge. So, obviously, things get messy. There's almost like, I don't want to say like an Akame ga Kill vibe to it, because it's significantly different to that. It's more like, imagine if Claymore was a revenge show, right? Imagine if Claymore was a revenge show, and you're probably kind of close on that point then. I only picked this one up quite recently, but I'm quite impressed with it. It's got probably the best OP of the season as well. The OP for this show is fucking baller. Really good, really good. Excuse me. But overall, I like shows where there's a strong concept of revenge, and I especially like it when there's layers to that revenge, like learning why the main character is out for blood. In a lot of ways, it has the same edge as Crimson Ragnar. See, as soon as you mention about Crimson Ragnar, my brain just goes to Ragnar the Blood Edge, and Claymore was good. Claymore was good, yeah. Claymore was very good. I'm actually really glad to see people giving it some love, because I don't see it mentioned nearly enough. And hold on. Oh, sweet mother of mercy. I don't see Claymore getting anywhere near enough love, but Claymore was really good. But this has got some kind of similar vibes to it. But like, if you took Claymore and made it in fact, this is how to describe this one. If you mix Claymore with Kill Bill, you get this, right? Mix Claymore and Kill Bill, and you get this. Maybe throw in a smidge of Berserk as well. It is incredibly edgy, though. And, I mean, I'm okay with that. I don't mind some edge bait. I don't mind a bit of edging, I'm not above that. I'm just going to swing my water, my throat's starting to dry out, which is probably fine, though, because we're actually almost at the end of the list now anyway, so let's take a swig of my water, pop a cough sweet real quick. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, the next one, the next show on my list has a place which is kind of close to my heart for simp reasons, if I'm honest. So the next one is Welcome to Japan, Miss Elf. Nihon e yokoso Elfu-san. Now, the reason that this one holds a place close to my heart is we have here a purple-eyed, white-haired elf girl who's just basically moved to Japan. And my favourite streamer is a purple-eyed, white-haired elf girl who in real life has just moved to Japan. I literally went into Goosecord and I posted a picture of this and I was like, oh my god, it's the Elia anime. It came up in she was doing a Zatsu about the move and all that, and we mentioned it there. And she didn't know about this one, and then she had a look at it, and it's like, oh my god, it's literally me. The general premise of this one is bro in the background can take himself into another world, and the elf lady is his friend in another world, but they get defeated by, I think it was a dragon, and she wakes up in his bed with him. And it turns out then that actually, if they die in that world, they basically reincarnate in his world, but as themselves still. She sues for plagiarizing her life. You see white hair you like? Yeah. The main character in my book has white hair. She's also a complete fucking psychopath, so probably not a great example. You know, she kills people. I can't go into the book in much more detail because it's written in my real life name and I don't want to dox myself, but this show is neat. Like, a lot of it comes down to Elf-san learning about Japan, learning about living there. They do go on adventures in the other world as well. We haven't met the Oni girl with the horn yet, so this one is comfy. That's the way I describe this one, is comfy. And, I mean, the fact that the main character looks like Mayoshi is the reason I picked it up, and it's also the reason I won't let it go. I'm a simple man. Oh, no, watch this one, it's good. It's a good show, this one. You can also draw parallels to the other shows involving elves. Like, there was what was the one with the neat elf? The neat elf who worked at the shrine. It's kind of like vaguely similar to that one. Pretty different in terms of the general way it's set up, but like in terms of the way it's constructed story-wise, probably not a million miles away. The last show that's on my list then is Zenshu. Zenshu is fucking baller. So the main draw of this one for me initially was the key art is, look at the key art, it fucking pops. It pops so hard. It goes harder than it has any right to. This show is about an animator who eats something bad and dies. She just straight up fucking dies. But she isekais into the world of a movie that she animated. And I'm sure it was one she animated. Was it one she animated or was it one that she really liked as a kid? Let me remind myself. She knows everything about it, so hold on a minute. Let me find the entry on Mal real quick. I'm using Mal to kind of top up my knowledge because it's late on in the day. Yeah, that's it. It's her first anime. She's having to do a second one. But she's basically isekai'd into the world of... no, it's her favourite childhood show, which is A Tale of Perishing. So she's trying to get by through this world using her knowledge of the show without changing too much. The animation quality is insane. Like, she goes through these transformation sequences where she goes from being lethargic and not really able to do very much to help to, you know, she animates like a giant fuck-off mecha to defend a city from a legion of bad guys. And the animation quality during the sequence where she gets fired up and starts drawing is insane. Like, the overall premise of this one is pretty nuts generally, but aesthetically it's really nice. You know, the main character's design is unironically peak as fuck. You know, the fact that, like, most of the time she's just got hair in front of her face. You can't even see her face 90% of the time because she's just, you know, just doesn't give a shit. But then she locks in and everything's just like, oh boy, we popping off now. We popping off! this one is definitely one that I recommend very highly. I mean, this is going to be in the top 4 on my priority list to watch. And like I said, 2, 3, and 4 in that list are mutable. They kind of vary depending on my mood. But this is definitely going to be in that top 4 in terms of, like, what do I choose to watch if it's available? If I've got multiple shows that I want to watch at one time, if I don't have anything else in the top 4 to watch and this is there and everything else is outside of it, this takes the priority, you know. I think that, I mean, really, again, this one I actually picked this one up because of the key art, nothing else. There was no other reason for me to start watching. I just thought, the key art looks really nice, I'm going to watch this. And, yeah, good decision on my part, I think. Very good decision. Those are all of them. I did do a little bit on runovers from last season, which we touched on briefly earlier, so I'm carrying on with Shangri-La Frontier. I'm carrying on with Blue Box. I'm carrying on with Tying the Knot with an Amagami Sister. I need to see if Danmachi or ReZero are carrying on at all. I don't think they are. I think I've finished those, but I just need to really kind of refresh myself. And there might be... I mean, last season, I actually missed Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest, and the only reason for that is I'm still going through Fairy Tail at the moment, so I want to finish that first and then get to the 100-Year Quest. So I'm up to the Alvarez Empire arc at the minute. So I'm in the final season, but the problem with that is that, like, my time to watch Fairy Tail is very limited because I've got so many other fucking shows. I've been going through it over the course of like the last 3 or 4 fucking years. It's been mental. But yeah, you now have an indication of all the weeb shit that I'm watching this season. There is so much weeb shit I'm watching this season. It's just dumb. It's too much. There's way too much. But yeah, I mean, I think anything that I've shown on stream tonight, right, is absolutely worth at least a look, you know. All these shows are decent at the very least. If you were going to get my recommendation for any one show to pick, it's going to be Amico MD. That has some very significant potential to not just be the best anime this season, it has some very significant potential to actually bust out into my list of favourite shows globally, which is pretty hard to do, you know. My favourite animes overall, Izetta The Last Witch is my top pick overall. You know, I love that show. Doesn't get anywhere close to enough love. Beyond Izetta, I mean, I'd have to check my Mal profile to get like the full list. In fact, can I do that? Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can do that. Just gonna have a quick look and see if I can pull myself up on it. Hang on a minute. So, can I search for users? Yes, I can. Okay. Interesting. Can't find myself. Very curious. I can't find my anime list anymore. Did it get deactivated? Did it get deactivated? What? Oh shit, the bed. I think my Mal got disconnected. Hold on. Let me try that. No, it must have done. There's yeah. Unfortunate. Oh, it is what it is, I guess. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap things up there because my voice is really starting to hurt a bit. I know it's been a bit shorter than I thought it would, so I've got a bit of a chance to go play some games now, which is nice. Schedule for the next part of the week, then. Let me just run over what I've got penciled in at this point in time. So, I need to actually put this onto Twitter as well. Bear with. There we go. Okay. So, next week, coming, tomorrow we're playing Metroid Desolation True Ending, second part. Tuesday is Alien Isolation. Wednesday, I don't have a stream penciled in right now, but I might put something in there because I've got band practice at some point this week, and I just need to work out when. Oh, no worries, it's all free. Thank you for coming. It's been nice to just, like, yap shit about anime for a bit. It's been even nicer that, like, some of the obscure stuff I know is known to other people, and that's reassuring. So, yeah, you'll love to see it. Dungeon Keeper I've put in for Thursday, so I want to go back to Dungeon Keeper so we can finish off Dixarok. We can do Caddisfell at long last. I'm not looking forward to that one, but we have to do it. And then before Tomb Raider 4 through 6 remaster comes out, in theory we should have been able to go through Belial as well, and that's Dungeon Keeper in the Deeper Dungeons completely done. Friday's set to be Ace Attorney Investigations 2, and then I've put Tectonica on Saturday. Whether I do anything on Sunday, I don't know. I might leave it free as just like an empty day, see where we go with that. Band Dream Practice? Not quite. No, I play in a scuzzy hardcore punk band. We are incredibly, incredibly heavy. Like, the best way I can describe the music we play, it's a cross between Black Flag, Harm's Way, and probably something like Drain, I think. But yeah, it's pretty nuts, and we're looking to get some more gigs in at the minute, so we're rising at the minute, so we're saying about, like, let's try and get band practice in maybe once a week at this point. It's just a case of, like, trying to work out when the other guys are free so I can pencil my schedule around that. But yeah, I'll put a schedule up on Twitter. I'll add one to YouTube as well. I'll try and remember to do that. But in the meantime, guys, cheers for the hangs. I'm going to go get myself a beer, I think. And all being well, I'll see you tomorrow at 6 UK time for Metroid Desolation. Until then, tell us a care, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for coming.